I am Neri-P305 from B-Scream 3, Block 10. Initial contact. If we define initial contact, it is said that initial contact with the child refers to the apprehension or taking into custody of a child in conflict with the law by police officers or private citizen, with or without warrant. Police officers shall take note that the physical custody of the child shall be turned over to the appropriate persons or agencies within 8 hours after initial contact. Protection upon initial contact. The CICL, or Child in Conflict with the Law, shall enjoy the rights laid down by RA number 9344, an act establishing a comprehensive juvenile justice and welfare system, as amended, and shall enjoy the protection of other laws whenever applicable from the first time that the child comes in contact with the juvenile justice and welfare system. The right to privacy of a CICL shall be respected at all stages of the proceedings. As such, all records and proceedings involving the children in conflict with the law, from initial contact until the final disposition of the case, shall be considered privileged and confidential. If there is any case that is about children, the case should be in secret or should not be posted in public. So, who may conduct initial contact? It could be done by the first responders, beat patrol officers, WCPD, and other responding police officers. General rules in conducting initial contact. First, the apprehending officer shall identify himself or herself to the child and shall introduce herself or himself as kuya or ate to the child and show his or her proper identification card as a police officer. To be able to get the trust of the child, you need to show how much you wanted to be with that child. Also, introducing yourself being a kuya or ate will comfort the child. Next, if the apprehending officer is wearing a vest or a jacket while in uniform, he or she shall show her or his nameplate and or badge to the child. This is to be able to let the child know that he is in the proper care of the police. Next one, if the apprehending officer is in civilian clothes, he or she shall show his or her identification card so that the child will know the name and the information of the officer. And next, the apprehending officer shall conduct the search of the child in a friendly, non-degrading, and gender-sensitive manner. A female child shall only be searched by a female police officer. So, what to explain to the child? The police officer shall explain to the child in simple language and in language or dialect. First, the reason for placing the child under custody. So if you are going to say the reason of the child why he is in custody, you need to say it in a dialect that the child will understand. Also, next is the offense allegedly committed. You will briefly explain what is the offense that the child has committed. Next one is the child's constitutional and other rights. Of course, even though the child doesn't know the rights of his or her own rights, still you need to explain the child of his or her constitutional and other rights. Next one, the apprehending officer shall read the following rights of a person under custodial investigation to the child in a language or dialect which he or she understands. First, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand? So if you are going to be the police officer and you are going to tell it to a child who is a Filipino citizen, you will have to say this, that meron kang karapatan na manahimik. Alam mo yun. Next one is the question, you have the right to have an independent and competent counsel of your choice. Do you understand? Meron kang karapatan para makakuha ng abogado or makatulong sa iyo para sa iyong kaso. Naintindihan mo naman yon. So, next one, if you cannot afford the service of a lawyer, the government will provide a lawyer to assist you free of charge. Do you understand? So, in Filipino, kung hindi mo kayang maka-afford ng isang lawyer, merong ibibigay sa iyo ang government, ang gobyerno na tutulong sa iyo. Naintindihan mo ba 'yan? So next one, in number 4, anything you say will be used against you in any court of law. So, in Filipino, you will say it to the child that kahit anong sabihin mo ay pwedeng gamitin laban sa iyo. So, next one, number 5, do you understand all this right? So, naintindihan mo ba ang lahat na ito? Lahat ng iyong karapatan. So, if the child cannot understand the language or local dialect or suffers from disability, immediately bring the child to the station for proper assistance. Of course, some child will enter a traumatic stage wherein they cannot speak or not even think about what is happening. So, in this case, you need to put him or her in a proper assistance. So, the apprehending officer shall immediately notify the child's parents or guardians, the LSWDO, and the Public Attorney's Office of the child's apprehension. The notification shall be made not later than 8 hours after termination. So next, prevention of violence, injury, or humiliation. The apprehending officer shall prevent any possible violence or injury that may be inflicted against the child by any person, including the victim or the complainant from the time the CICL is taken into custody. The apprehending officer shall secure the child from public attention and humiliation. So it is the job of the officer to put the child in a private sector. Of course, it should not be in the public because some people will want to kill the child or may want just to take a video of the child that may cause humiliation and attention to the public. So that's all for my report. Again, I am Neri-P305 B Stream 3 Block 10.